series for the CISSP exam. Shout out to Pocket Prep making this possible as we do these live sessions every Monday here with the command line as we get ourselves ready, prepared to not only take the exam but pass it as well. So I am apologize apologies for the late start, but here we are. Let's get everything going, and we'll be set. 30 questions as we normally do, and that should take us to the hour. I'll get my screen going. All right. All right. Make that a little bigger. All right, cool. All right. Question one. All right. Acme Incorporated is deploying a new database system. Which of the following steps or processes that the implementation team followed would not improve the security posture of the system? All right. All right, let's see. All right, what would not improve the security posture? So we got run the database service with a dedicated unprivileged account. Okay, disable command history. Database on dedicated server. Use the ID team standard database account. Hmm. Um, I'm gonna go with Delta. Yeah. Yeah, it's not recommended to reuse database account names across different applications. Database account names should be unique across applications. Using the same names could increase the blast radius if accounts are compromised and complicate audit logging due to duplicate names. All right. Jessica works as an information technology security professional at Acme Inc. She applies a policy to a payment processing system so that in the event of a failure, the system puts itself into a high level of protection and becomes inaccessible until she can review it. What type of failure is handling this? All right, so if it's going to be inaccessible, this should be fail closed. Yeah, yeah, fail close. Excuse me. Yeah, fail close. Failure state puts the system to a high level of security and disables it entirely or shuts it down until administrator can diagnose the issue and restore the device to regular operation. All right, let me just do a quick check on LinkedIn. And one thing I want to do is let me let me add the invite link on there because I'm not sure. I'm just gonna put the link within to join within LinkedIn, and then I'll get us back going. Yeah, so that's within the comments of the live. All right. All right, question 3. The act of searching for correlations of data in a data warehouse is best known as which of the following? All right, it's not delta. Not Charlie. That's yeah, I'm looking between Alpha and Bravo, but I think it's Bravo. Data serving, because data mining is when um you're pretty much just collecting, like, so in this case, like any and everything, all data. You just pulling it all in. But I think that's just one action. You're not doing any sort of analysis with it yet. You're just collecting with data mining. So I want to say it's Bravo. And I just have not heard of Charlie, but let's see. Wow, it is Alpha. Okay. Okay. All right. So data mining is searching through data warehouses and correlating data. So yeah, so it is. Okay. So my interpretation was I thought data mining was just purely um just collecting the data, not doing any sort of analysis with it. But yeah, but you are pretty much doing that. So yeah, analysts use data mining to find potential revenue. So for instance, an analyst could data mine a product sales patterns, identify that October is the best sales month. Marketing and sales could then increase during those months to increase revenue for the company. All right, data mining. All right, which of the following asset classes includes copyrights, trademarks, patents, and similar intellectual property? All right, you can eliminate Bravo and Delta. Uh, what type of asset classes includes copyrights, trademarks? I guess that would be intangible. If you're just talking about the asset class, I mean, yeah, you're putting like a copyright on something. I mean, that's oh man. I don't know if I'm thinking too deep because so let's say you put a copyright on a book. I mean, that's a tangible thing, but if you're talking about specifically the class itself, I guess that'd be an intangible. All right, let's see. Yeah. Yeah, intangible assets describe asset types that do not possess a physical substance. Yeah. So copyrights, trademarks, patents, similar intellectual property, they're all classified as and are examples of intangible assets. While such assets are without physical substance, they are not without value, making it essential to consider them in a risk management planning. All right. What type of cyber threat is best described as thousands of individual computers used together to attack a target? Oh, yeah, it should be botnet. Just make sure a command and control server, no. Smurf attack, no. Honeynet, I'll probably like the closest thing, but you're a honeynet. You're just watching like an adversary, um, you essentially to set in a trap just to see how an adversary moves, so you can study and learn their process. So you kind of just learn them into a pseudo compromised network with a honeynet. But yeah, that's a more passive type of thing. Botnet would be you're grouping a bunch of computers together to conduct an attack. So that should be alpha. Yep. Give me 1 second, folks. Let's check the PC on here. All right. Come back to that. All right. Which of the following is the formula used to determine annualized loss expectancy? So your ALE. Um, oh, that's going to be asset value times exposure factor. It's not alpha. Yeah, that's going to be Bravo. Oh, SLE times ARO. So wait, so what is ah yeah, asset all right, yeah, asset value times exposure factor, that's gonna give you the SLE. Um the ALE, that's gonna be ALE times ARO. Yeah, so ALE measures the 1 year financial loss an asset may suffer from a specifically identified threat used to determine risk and insurance requirements based on the potential for failure, and is calculated as yeah ALE equals SLE times ARO. Damn, I gave that one up. All right, I see Dwight join. Good evening, sir. Welcome.
Hey, hey, how's it going?
Doing well, man. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good.
All right. All
Sorry to
right.
be
An
late.
organization is planning to migrate some of its resources to a cloud service, thereby splitting resources between cloud and local usage. What tool would best ensure the security of its new cloud resources? I would have to say Alpha, or the cloud. I forget what the A stands for, but I know. Yeah, cloud security broker,
I think A is access.
cloud access security broker. Well, it's not. Yeah, it's not Bravo, not Charlie, and Delta is network access control. Yeah. Yep, cloud access security broker. Um, yeah, so the CASB controls access to cloud resources. Additionally, it can log all access to cloud resources, enforce security protocols, and assist with compliance with regulatory requirements. All right, give me 1 second. I need to check something real quick. I'll be right back. All right. All right. Which type of access control is a smart card? Oh, that should be preventive. It's not recovery. It's not detective. Uh, yeah. Yeah. Preventive controls. You're trying to stop or interrupt unauthorized access. So yeah. So if they don't have a smart card, they can't get on to your network. All right. Which of the following is most commonly used to enable communication between microservices? I'd say API. Yep. Yeah, application programming interfaces sometimes used to as intermediaries to enable web application interactions and are a very common means of enabling communication between microservices. All right, which of the following single sign-on technologies will most likely be used by users accessing resources over the internet? Oh, that should be Kerberos. Most of these, because what's the other one? Kind of, there's one that's for like external for the internet, and there's another that's more internal. Um, I believe Kerberos handles that. Uh, or did I get it mixed up? All right, so yeah, federated identity management is a form of SSO that provides a solution for users. Um, provides a solution for users access and resources over the internet. Most organizations can join a federation or group where they agree on a method to share identities between them. Users in each organization can log on once in their own organization, and the credentials are matched with a federated identity. They can use this federated ID to access resources in any other organization within the group. Common FIM technologies are SAML, OpenID, OAuth, and WS Federation. Okay, so Kerberos, LDAP, AD, all used within a business. So Kerberos is, so I had an inverse. So Kerberos is the one that's more like internal. So in this case, like, yeah, we use within an organization, and one, the more external or widely accessible would be, in this case, would be federated identity management, or FIM. Just got to get those correct. All right. What is another name for the Vernum cipher? Do I know you. I know you know this one.
I have no idea.
Oh, really? All right. It's
One time Pat? I
one.
mean,
Yeah.
that's what I would
One
go
time.
with.
Yeah. 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 Vernum. Uh, that was created by Gilbert Vernum. Back in 1917, since it was referred to as a Vernum cipher. So one-time pad requires a completely random key that's the same length as the message. Each bit of the message and the key are exclusive OR together, resulting so the resulting ciphertext is considered unbreakable by brute force as long as the key remains secure. For a one-time pad to be implemented correctly, the keys cannot be reused and must truly be random. All right, a vulnerability scan is used for which of the following and is typically associated with what phase of a penetration test? Identify points of weakness in the system during an attack. All right, so there's two parts to this. So it says, what's the purpose of the vulnerability scan? So vulnerability scan is used for which of the following, and it's typically associated with what phase. So what is the vulnerability scan used for? So vulnerability scan is going to identify. The exploitation is going to be the penetration test. So for the first half of this, to answer this, I'm looking for identify. So I'm going to be down between Charlie and Delta. So we're answering what's a vulnerability scan. It's going to identify points of weakness in a system. So Charlie and Delta both answer that. Okay. All right. And the second part of this question, and was it typically associated with, and it's typically associated with what phase of a penetration test? And that's going to be, oh, this is close. So yeah, Charlie says attack phase of the penetration test, and Delta is discovery phase. I want to say, oh man,
If it helps, I'm leaning Discovery.
you say you're looking at discovery?
Yeah, I'm leaning more
Uh,
towards Delta.
Yeah, so I was looking at Charlie, but I was trying to reason it out as to, but you're not during the attack phase of a penetration test. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with Delta. I think it's discovery. Yeah. Yeah, vulnerability scan used to identify potential points of weakness in the system. Yeah, it's not intended to exploit or mitigate to discover weakness, only report them. Um, Therefore, vulnerability scans are typically used during the discovery, not attack phase of a penetration test. All right. The gaussing is an appropriate data destruction technique for which type of storage media?
The the key to this is that degaussing is magnetic. Is that correct?
Right. Mhm. So what are you thinking?
Charlie.
Mm, no, I will go with Delta um because compared to a hard disk drive, um, which has those mechanical components, SSD doesn't have that. So you would use the magnets to help destroy an SSD. Oh wait, wow. Damn man, my bad. You were absolutely right. Did I jack it up? Yeah, I did. I definitely did. Yeah, so the Gaussian happens when a magnetic field is created that realigns the magnetic fields on media. We have one way to remove data remnants on media, such as a hard drive or tape drive. So there's effective only on magnetic media, so it can't be used on media such as DVDs, CDs, or SSDs. I don't know why I was thinking. Well, I need to look back at that. No, but yeah, Dwight, you definitely got that right. All right. Each employee and resource in an organization has a collection of labels assigned to them, and access rules are defined as combination of these labels, which all the following does is best describe. So you have discretionary access control, um, role base for our back, um, for Bravo, and attribute based access control, and Delta is rule based. So it's saying each employee and resource in an organization has a collection of labels, and access rules are defined as combination of these labels.
I think we could narrow it down to C or D.
Yeah, I'm looking more towards Charlie attribute. Yeah, 'cause I don't see anything that says like as far as eliminating Bravo. I don't see anything that's talking about specifically any roles or anything for access. They're not talking about like if you work at HR or IT, then you get this access. So there's no mention of that. And discretionary is up to it's not like like an administrator giving or revoking access for someone or a group of people. So there's no talk of that. So Alpha and Bravo are out. Yeah, yeah, this and the reason I wanted to eliminate Delta, because typically, I guess you think of it like if, with a firewall, like some sort of rule that's in place that you know that equates to say, okay, this person gets access to this resource or not. Yeah, this seems to be more of attributes. Yeah, yeah. So this describes attribute based access. Attribute defines various attributes to users and access to resources and is governed based on combinations of attributes. For example, IT manager may have attributes granting them access to IT resources and management level resources. All right, so before calling law enforcement about a suspected crime committed on a computer, who should give authorization? That should be senior management. Yeah, yeah, anything something like this definitely, senior management definitely needs to be involved. Um, especially if you're ever in a situation where you're maybe dealing with media or anything like that, you wanna. I think basically you don't be just speaking, for yourself or take it upon yourself to speak for the company or anything like that. Definitely don't want to do that. So yeah, you definitely want to have senior management involved, and then from there they can kind of coordinate who should be the one. And most times that's going to be like your media folks, your public relations folks. But that's all that coordination that's going to happen. So, all right, what type of management system provides a secure location for users to keep their usernames and passwords? Um, provides a secure location. Oh, that should be Delta, like your password managers, like Proton Pass or I don't know Google, all different types of password man. Everyone has their pretty much their solution, but they're essentially credential management systems. So it keeps your usernames, keeps your passwords, and a lot of times it'll associate the link um, to those credentials, so that way whenever you go to that specific page, it'll read it and then provide you. Sometimes you could even set it to like autofill. that page for you, so that way it just inputs your username and password that's been saved, and that way it just makes that ease of access, creates that ease of access for those specific logins. All right, sustained backups contain using copy transaction logs at an offsite facility are called what? Uh, all right, well, you can eliminate Bravo and Delta. Um, I believe this is going to be Alpha, electronic vaulting. I'm trying to remember what remote journaling. I can't remember if that happens like in real time mm, or if it. I'm trying to find a best way to describe it. Like if it's a more of an active way of um, a backup. Uh, Sustained backups using copy transaction logs. Actually, I think I'm gonna go with Charlie. It's between Alpha and Charlie. I'm gonna lean with Charlie. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Remote journaling. Yeah, it's a type of backup system where the transfer of data happens close to real time. Yeah. So that's what I was saying. That's how I was trying to describe it. Yeah, it's more of an active measure or active method of backups, I guess. So remote journaling only transmits the file deltas to keep systems synchronized. The recovery point objective is determined by the frequency of how often the deltas are synchronized. So electronic vaulting is an online bulk transfer of data off site. So it's not a so it's still conducting a backup, but it's not a more is not a active method as in comparison to remote journaling. Incremental backup, yeah, that's used in conjunction with full backups. Yeah, the incremental backups copy the files that have been changed or created since the last backup, either incremental or full. It's not based on transaction logs and failover clusters. They're a method of fault tolerance for servers. It's not a backup method for data. All right, a user sends a request to a server that is supported by a set of interfaces that belong to different nodes. If the first available node that the request is received by responds, what type of IPv6 addressing is in use? The first, okay, if it's first available, I think that should be Delta. It's not gonna be Charlie. Mm, let me read this again. User sends a request to a server that's supported by a set of interfaces that belong to different nodes. If the first available node that the request is received by responds, yeah, I think this is describing Delta. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, the IPv6 anycast address, unique type of address used in IPv6 networking, allows multiple devices to share the same IPv6 address. Anycast addresses are primarily used for load balancing and redundancy purposes in distributed networks. Anycast addresses in IPv6 are represented using a specific address format. They use a prefix followed by a unique identifier similar to other IPv6 addresses. However, unlike unicast or multicast addresses, anycast addresses are assigned to multiple devices or network interfaces. The main characteristic of any cast addresses is their ability to facilitate one to nearest communication. So this means that when a packet is sent to any cast address to an any cast address, it is routed to the nearest or I don't know why I'm struggling with this. Topologically closest device that holds any cast address. Uh, this routing decision is typically based on routing protocols and network topology. Topologically, I guess. That was a struggle for me, apparently. All right. Which of the following best describes an AUP's role? Yeah, so yeah, AUP, acceptable use policy. So what describes an AUP's role? Yeah, it should be Charlie.
Whoa,
Defining
whoa,
the
whoa, whoa.
reasoning. Hmm.
It shouldn't be alpha.
Defining acceptable use of hardware or software.
We never really defining whether ascertaining whether the policy is acceptable.
You're right. Um, yeah, because yes. So yeah. So in terms of so let's say an acceptable use policy for hardware, you can't, you know, dismantle or modify the PC that you're using, or even software. You can't install um, any sort of outside software that's not been verified or checked, or visit any illegal sites um, while using the hardware, stuff like that. No, you make. Oh, that's a great point. Yeah. Um, yeah, I got caught up in so the policy can be derived from the AUP. Boy, it was specifically talking about the AUP's role. Yeah, it's yeah, that's definitely at the root, I guess, definition. Then yeah, it's gonna define what's acceptable when utilizing like a company's hardware or software resources. Yeah, yeah, great catch. Yes, yeah. So the AAP outlines the intended and accepted uses for a system for an organization. So at a minimum, an organization should require all employees to sign an AAP that outlines what is and is not acceptable behavior when using an information system. Right. All right. Acme Incorporated has a security requirement to ensure that access to its server room can be tracked and that the information recorded includes the name of the person who entered the room. A door lock that includes a door lock that includes what type of technology is best suited to meet this requirement. All right, so they'll make sure they can track. I would have to say card reader, because if they want to track the name of the person who entered the room, so like so you get to a door. In order to access the room, you got to use like your CAC or current access card. Press against not a sensor, or I guess the card reader. But then yeah, it's going to create a log. Okay, this person entered this room at 7:05 p.m. Um, so that way you have that attribution. Because Tumblr is not going to do that. Electronic keypad, anybody could have, the number or the password to that to get in. Whether they should have it or not, someone figures it out, or maybe they looking over your shoulder while you enter it in. Like I said, that's gonna be hard to pinpoint down to one person. Combination lock again, same thing. So there should be, yeah, card reader. Yeah, so that's a form of electronic access control that's unlocked using a badge or smart card. That's gonna be it's gonna be tied to a specific person, thereby supporting access by different people, reporting on specific people. All right, what is the best way to reduce false positive and false negative reports when performing a vulnerability scan? Uh, all right, so I'm looking at Charlie. Yeah, I don't think you're not going to want to avoid detection. Uh, I'll eliminate Bravo because so with run an authenticated scan, you're going to get more precise results as opposed to a an what is it unauthenticated scan. Um, so yeah, so if you're try to mitigate or reduce the number of those false reports, you want to run an authenticated scan. I think Delta is gonna make a difference in this for this scenario. Yeah, yeah. So an authenticated scan, the scanner has credentials to log into the target, read configuration information from the scan system, and use it to find additional vulnerabilities. Um, so if you're looking at the first choice, yeah, so running multiple scans and comparing results. Um, It's an interesting choice. The question that is unanswered is: are each of the scans using the same tools and methods? If they are, running the scans multiple times will not likely result in any clarification of false positives or negatives. If the multiple scans are run using different tools, it could help reduce the number of false positives and false negatives. It's not. It is not as good as being able to log in and verify info as you would with unauthenticated scan. All right, which of the following is not a common social engineering principle? Uh, say alpha. Which of the following is not a common social engineering? So, authority, yes. Um, intimidation, yes. I'm trying to think of an example for consensus.
Consensus is like everybody's saying that we need to do this now.
Mm,
I just need go ahead and send your password so you don't hold up the team.
right. Yeah, and try and put like some pressure on them to do it in that sense. Okay. But yeah, I believe this is non-repudiation. Yep. Yeah, yeah. So as you said, yeah, consensus, social proof, making a target feel as though everyone is doing it can help a social engineer convince their victims to perform a desired action. Yeah, yeah, absolutely right. Great example there. Yeah, intimidation. Those are scare tactics. You could say, someone's going to lose their job if they don't do this, type of thing. Um, and then you have authority. Victims are more likely to obey if they think the attacker is someone with authority, like executive law enforcement. And I'll give even a real world example with this too. I so those who know me, I work in a skiff with the government agency that I work for, and I recall one day, um, so I'm work. I'm at work, and then I receive a call uh, from my sister. She's telling me that hey, th- there's like this notice for you saying like there's a warrant for your arrest or something like that. I was like, what? So so now, mind you, now I'm kind of frantic. So I go out, I leave the building, go out to my vehicle, check my phone, and yeah, I'm receiving this message from uh, I guess from this police department, this police department saying, I have this, warrant for my arrest and all this type of stuff. And they gave me like the, the I guess the code or whatever, the warrant number, or to look up. I look all that up, man, and none of that is true. I even called the court that they said this is from. There's no record or anything of that nature. So so basically, yeah, and of course, with that, they want you to call and provide more information and this and that. But of course, I never called back. All I did was again did some research on my own. Looked up the court that they claim to be calling from, and again, there was no record of that. So again, so that'll be an example of authority. They use that, probably try to pull information, that's probably readily available out, on to the public on you, and then try to use that in a way to again to gain more information to, like I said, to gain illegal access to your accounts and this and that. So and also another good example too, just to always verify, especially something that looks fishy, something you never heard of before, or don't divulge any information. Do your own research. Call directly to institutions yourself. Don't rely on them, and make sure everything checks out before doing anything further. All right. Acme Incorporated is beginning to define standards for its information security program. Is struggling to find detailed references that can help it provide security configurations teams can use to ensure systems are sufficiently hardened and meet minimum requirements. Which of the following is the best solution? So yes, if you're trying to find minimum requirements, you're gonna be doing baselines. So you want your systems to meet, y- that ground level, that foundation of requirements. It can't be no less than that. There has to be the exact minimum to ensure your systems are running properly. So yeah, you want to have baselines. So baselines are reference points used for system security configuration. This is important in establishing consistent security standards across the entire organization. Any systems that do not meet the baseline should be taken out of production and patched to meet the baseline security level. All right, which of the following describes the primary purpose of the POP3 protocol? I know it has to do with email. So you have IMAP, um, not IMAP. I don't know why I'm blanking the other one.
SMTP.
Yes, yeah, yeah, SMTP. Um, the primary purpose of POP3, I believe this is Charlie. I don't think it's doing any encryption. Oh man, I'm mad at myself because I should know this. Yeah, like like I know like each email protocol has like a specific job or task, if you will, as pertains to um, the flow of email or how email is being trafficked. Um, uh, yeah, I'm gonna go with Charlie. Okay, I didn't feel good about it, but I'm glad I got it right. But I definitely need to go back and brush up on that for sure. Yeah, but yeah, so POP three email protocol designed to allow an email client to retrieve messages from an email or mail server and store them locally on the user's device. The protocol primarily supports download and local storage of messages. Um, okay, yep. So I was thinking of IMAP. So IMAP, by contrast, allows users to keep emails on the server and synchronize mailboxes across multiple devices. Excuse me. And the simple mail transfer protocol is responsible for sending outgoing email messages. Okay, so SMTP, you're sending email messages out. IMAP, that's gonna synchronize your emails across multiple devices. So okay, so for example, let's say you have an Outlook account, right? So you can access it on your desktop. Put your credentials in, log in, and access your email. Then you could download the Outlook app on your phone or maybe like your mobile device or any mobile device you have. Same deal. Enter your credentials, and you can access that mailbox from there. So that'd be an example of the function for IMAP. So it keeps your email synchronized across all your devices. So that way you can still have that access. And again, SMTP, that's for sending um, messages that designated to be sent out. That's their job to make sure that it gets out to those recipients. All right. Which of the following documents would most likely reference the importance of following institutional policies and outline sanctions for violating them? The importance of following institutional policies. Oh, it has to be compliance. Yeah, and if there's gonna be sanctions, yeah, there has to be. Yeah, if you get like a fine or something, yeah, if an organization's out of compliance for anything, they could face any sort of like fine or any sort of uh, punishment or whatnot or penalty, I should say, if they're found out of compliance. All right, which of the following is the most thorough method of sanitizing solid state media storage? Uh, Most thorough has to be alpha destruction. There's no coming back from that. Destruction, yeah, yeah, leaves the media and data unreadable and unrecoverable. All right, Acme Inc. planning a recovery site intended to strike a balance between cost and speed. That is, they are not selecting the cheapest to recover or the fastest to recover option. Which of the following does this best describe? Oh, that's gonna be warm site. So that's gonna be right in the middle. So if you want that balance, because if you're looking at hot site, which they don't even have as a choice here. So, but yeah, hot site would be, you have that's supposed to be expensive option because you have all your resources. It's pretty much mirroring your current um your active site. Um, so that way, in case of any sort of disaster, you can go to your hot site and pretty much be up and running within minutes. Um, Cold site, that's going to be your cheapest, but that's going to be the longest. That's the one that's going to take the most time for you to get going because that's pretty much nothing installed in that facility. So yeah, if you want something right in between, that's going to be warm site. Yeah. All right, without using a hypervisor, a word processor wanted to save a file save a file would need to access which computer processing unit ring? So one of these is for like applications. I think it's three because zero's kernel. I think one is like for the OS. I want to say ring three. Yes. Yep. Three applications, two hardware drivers. So that's what it was. Yeah, one I was right. Yeah, operating system and zero's kernel. Definitely want to know these for the exam, knowing the different levels for the rings and what each one controls or what they're responsible for. So again, ring zero, kernel, ring one, operating system, ring two, hardware drivers, and ring three, that's gonna be your applications. All right, which of the following provides information to a system that only includes a subject and is assigned privilege in each row? That only includes a subject and is assigned privilege in each row. Oh, that should be Delta. So it's not Charlie. All right, you can eliminate Delta. You can eliminate Alpha. Which one? It only includes the subject and it's assigned privilege. Yeah, that should be Delta. Ah, all right. Oh man. All right, yeah. ACL that includes subjects and assigned privileges, access and control are bound to a specific object. Access control matrix table that shows which subjects are granted access to which objects. Both subjects and objects are visible in the access control matrix. Oh man. All right, and last one tonight. Of the following, which protocol best provides confidentiality for email? I believe this is going to be Charlie. Yeah, yeah. S-MIME that's used to encrypt digitally signed emails. S-MIME uses the RSA encryption algorithm. Has been incorporated in many commercial products such as Outlook, Mozilla Thunderbird, Mac OS X Mail. So S-MIME relies on the use of the X509 certificate for exchanging cryptographic keys. All right, let's see how we did. All right, good. I I don't know. I thought we did worse, but it's a good feeling. It's definitely good. You only got five wrong, and just quickly look at the ones that got wrong real fast. Yeah, it's one of the early ones that data binding. Um, Definitely need to check that. Formulas. I guess want to iterate. Definitely need to know the formulas. Get them down. Because I think that's gonna be the biggest thing when you have more of a scenario based questions. And I say the best practice you'll see maybe if you have access to quantum exams, they do a great job of giving you more scenario based questions. So when you see that, yeah, you need to know which formula to use in those type of scenarios. So, but again, yeah, knowing the formulas is a big part. Definitely 80% of the battle. So definitely know your formulas when it comes to this. Federated identity management, yes. Um, yeah, Kerberos, LDAP, AD, those are used internally or within a business federated identity management. That's something for more externally or across the internet. So used for the single sign-on. So it still uses single sign-on between. I'm just using Kerberos and against FIM, but again, Kerberos is more internal. FIM is more the external use of it. And Dwight, I know I failed you on this one. You definitely said tape drive, but um, yeah, when it comes to degaussing, so it's tape drive, and the one we just did, yeah, this access control list, not access control matrix. All right, that is all. Great job. If you've been following along, I hope you did well on this as well as you're working on this. We'll be back again, but on Wednesday. But this we'll be doing that within the command line community on Discord. So again, if you're not part of the community, please reach out to me. Find me on LinkedIn. Follow Talo Cyber on LinkedIn as well. You can find the join links there. But again, if you have any trouble, just reach out to me. I'll make sure I get you squared away. All right. Appreciate the time, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I'll see you next time. Later.
Appreciate it.